We are holding on by the skin of our teeth, and the one or two good results that we are getting as the season progresses are keeping the Premier League dream alive. We have to keep believing. We have to keep the faith. And if we can, then next year we might not be struggling so much. And with 11 games to go now, we are just a stone's throw away, a couple of results away from achieving safety. Let's go and kick some balls. Hello and welcome back to The Road to Glory Part 82 Season 9 here at Preston. And as you can see from the table, we are still doing okay, and we have played 27 games and we have 33 points, which means that we are in 13th place and we are 7 points clear of Norwich, who are in 14th. And so it's game on, and if we can manage to pick up a few more results in the remaining 11 games of the season, then I think that we could be safe, and my pre-season prediction of a finish around 14th or 15th is definitely achievable. But today we will start what is going to be a very, very tough run of fixtures, and we will have the first of those two games. We will be at home to Everton in the FA Cup 4th round, and then we'll follow that with an away trip to Arsenal, one of the favourites for the title. But before we get into what has been happening on the pitch and what has happened in the transfer window, and it was quite busy in the transfer window, if you are brand new to the channel and you like FM content and you love to see people suffer playing this game, well, you are in the right place. So why not subscribe, like, watch and comment, help the channel to grow and help us to support the very worthwhile cause that you can see scrolling up above. But we have done okay during the month of January, better than I had expected, and that culminated last week in a visit from Manchester United. What an amazing result that was, and I would take that point any day of the week. But let's just check what's happened since you were last with us. And when you were last with us, you saw us have that 3-0 defeat at home to Everton, where I was absolutely tearing my hair out. But we did follow that with a 2-1 away victory against West Ham, and then we followed that with a 2-1 away victory at Plymouth in the FA Cup 3rd round. Then, unfortunately, against Newcastle at home, we were beaten by 1-0, and we followed that with an equally upsetting 1-0 home victory against Tottenham. But we bounced back again and we beat Blackburn, this time by 1-0, and then we followed that with the 3-3 draw against Manchester United. And as you can see now, the run of fixtures gets very, very tough indeed, and we will play Everton in the FA Cup 4th round, Arsenal in the Premier League away, Southampton in the Premier League at home, Liverpool away, and those 4 games probably we are not going to get anything out of. The games against Bournemouth, Brentford, Fulham and Leicester is where our season will be defined. I am expecting nothing in the month of February, but I'm hoping that the month of March will provide us with enough points to stay safe. But let's have a look at what's happened in the transfer window, and it was a very, very busy transfer window. And in terms of players that went out, a number of players went out, and one or two might be surprises. Daniel Kelly, he was sold to Sheffield United. We got offered 7.75 million for him, and I took it. He wanted to leave. He wasn't happy with his playing time, not part of my future plans, so we let him go. And then we sold our goalkeeper, Matthew Cox, to Bayern Munich. He wanted to go. He wanted to play football at a higher level. We got offered £18 million for him, and we took it. But unfortunately, I only got about 7 million, as many bills had to be paid following the sale of him, so we didn't get the full 18 million at all in terms of transfer budget. Rob Nizzet went out. He was sold to West Brom for £2.5 million. Definitely not part of my plan. Dijon Bernard, he went out on loan to Hull City. He is also definitely not part of my future plans. And possibly the biggest shock of all, and one of my favourite players, Ibrahim Digbareku. When I got an offer of 16.25 million for him, I took it. I think he's probably not going to progress as this team moves forward, and so I thought to myself, as we're going into the back end of this season, why not take the money at this point and run? And so we did. And we have brought in 4 players as a result. We have brought in Erdik Alton from Hamburg for £5.5 million. He was a replacement for our goalkeeper Matthew Cox. He's every bit as good as Matthew Cox, and he looks like a very good Premier League standard goalkeeper to me. Hopefully he will be a good replacement. And then we brought in Vitaly Becker from Union Berlin. Again, he cost us £5.5 million. He is a left back. We needed someone who could play at left back to replace the injured Bueno. Bueno, who's not part of my plans now due to his cruciate ligament injuries and probably will be sold in the summer. And this guy, Becker, he is 25 years old. He is a decent fullback. He's not brilliant by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm hoping that he will do a job up until the summer when we start to rebuild the team again. And then we brought in Colin Gourley from Motherwell for £2.1 million. I also needed someone who could play at the base of the midfield. And although, again, he's not the greatest of players, he has good passing and vision, and he has pretty good mentals and pretty good physicals. He's not the most technically gifted of players that I've ever come across, but I'm hoping that for now he will do a decent job for us at the base of the midfield. He's 23 years old. He's not expected to develop much more, and he probably is only part of my plans as a backup for next season. We have a lot of work to do in the summer transfer window, and a lot of players will be coming and going. And then finally we've brought in Adam Charteris from West Brom. We definitely needed a fullback on the right, and he's come in. He is a 20-year-old fullback. He has 5-star potential. He could develop a lot in the future, and I think he is a very good signing for the future, and I'm hoping that he's someone who will stick around for a long time to come. He's got very good physicals. His mentals are pretty good for 20 years old, and he's quite a good technical player. And although he's very, very expensive, he cost us £17.5 million, I think he is a pretty good signing for the future, and I think he will prove to be our right back for a long time to come. And so it has been a very, very busy transfer window, but we are keeping the balance of our transfers very nice. With transfers out this year, 64 million, and transfers in 56 million. That's a net profit of 8 million. So I think in the transfer market, we've been doing a pretty good job. And if we just have a quick look at the squad dynamics at the moment, the squad dynamics are extremely good, and we are all in the green, and everything in terms of the squad looks good. So we're actually not losing the dressing room. But now it's time to focus on these 2 very big games, Preston versus Everton, and then the away trip to Arsenal. I'm not expecting anything from these 2 games, and we're going to try and remain as upbeat as we possibly can, and the next 4 games following it are not going to be easy games either. And as long as we don't get annihilated, I'll be fairly content. So I need to get the team ready. let's go and kick some balls. And so the team for the FA Cup fourth round game against Everton is Alton in goal, with Pugh, Newman, Altair and Becker at the back, Stoiker, Estrella, Applewhite and McCann in midfield, with Surridge getting a game up top and partnering Eder. We have nothing to lose in this game. I'm really not that bothered about the FA Cup, and so I'm just hoping that we do as well as we possibly can, and that we just don't get annihilated. Let's go out. I have got faith in you boys. Morale is still good. The dressing room is still intact. Let's go out, do our best, and see what we can do. And the game is underway. Preston at home to Everton, and the score at the moment after the first 5 minutes is 0-0, and it is Everton on the ball. I have started in a balanced mentality. We've been playing cautiously, and Everton have scored from a set piece. We are a goal behind. I want to go back to being cautious. I shouldn't listen to my assistant manager, and we'll go back to being cautious. We're just going to try and keep the score down against Everton, but that is not the best start that we could possibly have made, and the score at the moment is Preston 0, Everton 1. Everton is a team that pretty much dominate us every single time we play them. Dwight McNeil is having a pretty good game at the moment. It's a goal from a corner though, so his stats don't really bother me, but in terms of the match momentum, we are getting absolutely hammered, and we're just about hanging in there, but it's okay. I really don't want to be in the cup, because the teams left in the cup are going to just pretty much dominate us and hammer us, and we can do without that this season. We have to focus on just staying alive and just focus on the Premier League and finishing as high up as we can in the Premier League. And it's that early goal which is separating the two sides. It's Preston 0, Everton 1 as we come up to half-time. We've made a couple of chances and we've restricted Everton to not so many. And I'm just going to say that was satisfactory at best. We have the second half to turn it around. You have the ability to do that. You weren't that bad. And keep going. We can make something. We can at least get a draw, and try your best, lads. Let's see what we can do. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. And looking at anybody who's playing badly, actually nobody's playing that badly. We've just been caught out at a set piece early on. Everybody's having a reasonable game. Altar is having a very, very good game. And maybe it's time to make some changes now. And so we have made some changes. There were a number of players who were not playing very well, in terms of could have been playing better, I suppose. And we've removed those. And Surridge isn't having the greatest of game, but he's holding his own. He's looking quite tired, though. He's probably not fit as we would like him to be, but he's at least holding his own. Let's make a final change. And so we've taken off Stoiker to give him a little bit of a breather. It is Everton bringing the ball forward and possibly are going to have the last word in this game. But I'll take 2-0. That's not so bad for a team that is not as good as the opposition. We'll take a 1-0. And in terms of the match overall, we have actually matched them in terms of chances created. We've pretty much won just about the possession battle. It's just not been a good enough performance in terms of scoring goals as we could have done. And whilst we've been pretty defensively solid until now, it's been a pretty poor performance, really. I can't expect this team to be winning games like this, and Everton, for some reason, seem to be the best team in the world when we play them. I cannot get anywhere near their players, and it is now Preston 0, Everton 2. It's easy peasy for Everton, and they are going to go into the next round. Our cup run is over. I say cup run, we've only played 2 games in the cup, but it is over, and we'll just have to accept that we're not good enough and move on to the next game. And that is it. Looking at full time, it's Preston 0, Everton 2. We are out of the cup, but I'm not going to be too hard on them. I'm going to say I'm proud of your efforts, and it just wasn't to be. They did very well. They controlled possession, or they marginally dominated possession, and we created as many chances as Everton. It just wasn't to be. And so we have been defeated, and St Johnstone have sacked their manager by the look of it. What has that got to do with me? And so we need to move on to the next fixture. It's going to be just as difficult. We are going to be away at Arsenal. I would take a 2-0 defeat again. What I won't want to see is a 6-0 or a 7-0 defeat. And as long as we keep it to 2 or 3-0, I'll be perfectly happy. This run of games that we are facing, we are not going to get. We have to accept we are not going to get any points out of these 3 games. And we've just got to hope that the teams below us in terms of the table don't make up too much ground. And then when we come into the next 4 games, that's when we're looking at maybe picking up 6 points from there. That will hopefully keep us in the Premier League. But we have to get on with things now, and we'll go and get the team ready for Arsenal. And so the team for today against Arsenal is Alton in goal with Charteris, Stoiker, Altair, Mbeka at the back, Duvniak, McCann, Gourlay and Bellingham in midfield, with Ida and Ferguson up front. And again, it's not something that I'm expecting to get anything out of today. Although the team look fairly good about how the pre-match preparations have gone, this is a game I'm really not expecting to get anything out of. And they do have the 2 most dangerous players they have are Odegaard and Bukayo Saka, and we have to just make sure that they are kept quiet. And if we can do that, then maybe, who knows, we might even sneak a point out of this. But Arsenal are going to be very, very difficult to beat, and I'm not expecting anything from this game. And we do need to keep an eye on Saka and keep an eye on Odegaard. And immediately you can see one of them, I think Odegaard, has had 2 key passes in the game. But we do have the ball, and here is McCann. McCann finds Duvniak. He's looking upfield for Ferguson. Ferguson can't get on the end of it. We need to close him down, and Saka is coming forward up the left. He's looking to get a cross in. We are trying to force them out wide. We don't want them cutting inside, getting onto their stronger foot. And it is a chance, and it's well saved by Holton. And we're doing okay. There's just 10 minutes gone at the moment, and it's still Arsenal 0, Preston 0. And it could be one of these games, possibly like Manchester United, where we get something. Who knows? I don't actually think so. And Arsenal have taken the lead. And Saka, I think, I don't want to put anybody on him because he's drifting over to the left. He's actually drifting into the middle. He's not sticking to his position, and that's why he's dangerous. We can only type mark him within a zone, and he's all over the place. And if I put somebody on him, then I'm going to be disrupting the shape. And we are a goal behind. I expected to lose this one. Martinelli is actually having a good game, and he wasn't someone who I identified as needing treatment. We need to do something about Martinelli. We're going to type Martinelli as well out on the left-hand side and try to stop him as a threat. But Arsenal do have another set piece. We are being hammered at the moment, and they've hit the crossbar from the set piece, and it's still Arsenal 1, Preston 0. And if I go on like this, I'm just going to get hammered and hammered and hammered, and we're going to concede a lot of goals in the end. But here's Ida looking for Gouli, and here is Ida has a chance, and he's put it wide. We cannot afford to miss these chances. Ida has actually dropped a star this season, and I think I may well sell him at the end of the season. He has been a liability in terms of his finishing. Duvniak is having a very poor game at the base of the midfield. Stoiker's not playing very well at central defence, and we're just not playing very well. And Yeah, let's press him. I'll take your advice. I wanted to leave the midfield alone. They're big and strong for Arsenal. They're causing us all sorts of nightmares here, and I really have no idea. I am not skilled enough to be able to beat this Arsenal team. Yeah, you're doing well. Keep working hard until half-time. They are 10 times better than we are, and we're only a goal behind. So why not praise them? We need to make some changes, though. Stoiker's having an absolute nightmare of a game. Kofi Balmer can come on instead. Arsenal are still pressing us, though. And if we can just defend this, well done. Well done to Altair. Good defensive work. And we need the ball to go out of play so we can make these changes. I need to bring off Ida, and I will bring on Grant. And Arsenal have made it 2-0. And I don't expect anything to happen. We just have to take this on the chin. And I need to take off Juvniak as well. He's having an absolute nightmare of a game. And, the goal has been disallowed. So it's still Arsenal 1, Preston 0. And why was it disallowed? He was just fractionally off. So look at the space that they have in the middle. And maybe I need to do something about that. And so we have made 1 or 2 changes, 1 or 2 players needed to come off. Ida has been, since he got that hat-trick in the very first game of the season, he's been an absolute nightmare. And I can't see any way that he deserves to be part of this team, this squad moving forward. And I think we will probably end up selling him. Ferguson has performed a lot better than Ida, and he has done much, much better. Grant is even looking like a much better forward than Ida at the moment. And we might make a lot of money from Ida. But it is Arsenal who are dominating procedure. Ferguson looks like he's given everything. We'll bring on Surridge for the last few minutes. And Arsenal are still coming forward. And I think I might go to a defensive style just to keep it at 2-0, just to keep morale up. And it is Martinelli in space. It is 2-0 now, and we are being totally taken to the cleaners. And I do need to go to defensive style now, just to keep the scoreline down. And it's really very difficult to play with this team in the Premier League. They're doing about as well as they possibly can. And there's not much that we can do about this. And I'm just going to have to try and stay positive that we can't win these games. And let's go defensive. And hopefully not too much damage has been done at the bottom of the league. West Ham now have closed the gap to 5 points. And we just need to keep going. We've got 2 very, very difficult fixtures to come. We might go down to 14th by the end of that. And I'm not going to be hard on the boys. They did about, you did yourself proud, yeah. 2-0 to Arsenal. There's been better teams lose by more than that this season to Arsenal. So we've done very, very well. And we are still in 13th place. That has got to be very, very good. And that is what I would have snapped your hand off at the beginning of the season for. But our run of form is going to go into one of the most dreadful runs possible. And we are going to have to play Southampton, Liverpool, and then we're going to have Bournemouth, Brentford. I think we might come back for the Fulham and Leicester games at the end of those 4 better fixtures. And hopefully we'll be looking at survival at this stage. And that's it for this video. If you are new to the channel and you like FM content, why not subscribe, like, watch and comment. Help the channel to grow, help us to support the very good cause that you can see scrolling above. And watch us as we struggle on in our first season in the Premier League, trying to make sense of everything. We're going to have a lot of work to do if we can actually survive this first season. But the only way is up from here. And we will see you in the next episode.